licensure that she will tell you more about. Um, so I wanted to share too. Also, if you have not gotten your ticket to the Ultimate Free Experience, which is going down on July the 16th at 11 a.m., please go ahead and get your ticket. We will have sales going on until Monday. So if you had not gotten your ticket already, go ahead and get it at befreetoevolve.eventbrite.com. And we look forward to seeing you there. But without further ado, I'm going to bring up Miss Renee Best so we can get to know her a little bit better. Hi,
Hey,
Renee.
how are you?
I am doing wonderful. I hope you are doing amazing
I
tonight.
can't complain. I'm doing a lot better than I have been these last few days. So I'm excited to be here with you tonight.
Thank you for being here. Well, I would like to introduce people a little bit to you. So, you are certified in EMDR. If people don't know what that is eye movement desensitization, reprocessing therapy. You're also certified in trauma focused cognitive behavior therapy as well. You
Mhm.
have a master's in professional counseling. You also have a license in addiction
Mhm.
your addiction. So you're a clinical addiction specialist,
Mhm.
um, and an associate. Well, I already said that.
Yeah.
Clinical mental health counselor.
Right.
So your favorite scripture seems like is, and we know that all things work together for those who love God and who are called according to His purpose, and that is Romans 8:28.
Yes.
Um, yes. So tell us a little bit how that scripture um, relates to why you love it so much. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's kind of how the scripture I kind of went by as I started my journey into mental health. I've only been in the field. October will be 4 years that I've been licensed, and it's been a journey. Before I decided, I was just going back to school when I was working in corporate America, just raising my family. And I always wanted to finish my undergrad degree because I didn't get a chance to do that because I was a teenage mother. So I went back, was able to go back to school. And right before I graduated, my father passed away. And I can remember sitting in my room right before graduation. And I just heard the Lord tell me that Renee, you need to go back to school and become a therapist. And at first I was like, really? So did some research, wound up starting school 4 months later. And it took me a little time to finish my master's because the grieving process really was a tough process for me. It really put me through a roller coaster ride of emotions. But I finally finished and left corporate America, worked at a couple of jobs until I was able to open my own private practice. And that's what I'm doing now. I have a private practice in Raleigh. I also have an office in Asheville. We have about 13 therapists across two locations. And the name of the company is called All of You Mind, Body, and Spirit Counseling. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how I got to where I am now. And so I know you asked a question about that. What does evolving mean? And it kind of touched me to just even think about that for a little while because of my story and how I got to where I am right now. I never in a million years thought that I would be a therapist. I never thought in a million years that I would be running a group practice. I never thought the number of people that I have met on this journey, and as well as the support that I have received from my family, from my friends, because there were some days I know my husband, when I left corporate America, the idea of me taking that huge pay cut to do this shocked him completely. So
I'm sure it did.
it did. Um, we don't get paid that well when we're first starting out at all. So it definitely was a love, but I can't complain. I mean, the Lord, I mean, He just covered me the entire time while I've been on this journey, and He still is. So that involving is kind of the idea of just being okay with change, being okay with change in your own time, not anybody else's time, in God's time, and just your own time. not putting all that pressure on yourself to keep up with everyone else. Or, I meet with a lot of group practice owners. I meet with a lot of therapists. Before I even kind of targeted trauma, I didn't know who I wanted to work with, what population, what I wanted to do. But I got an opportunity to work in a domestic violence shelter, and working with the women and the children that were coming in just sealed it for me. Like, I knew I wanted to work with men, women, children that were dealing with trauma, any kind of trauma, grief, um, death, domestic violence, verbal, emotional abuse, witnessing an accident, being in an accident. I work with all types of clients at this point. So I just have a passion for supporting my clients, and it's just been a blessing on this journey. Again, there's about 13 of us that work in the practice, and amazingly, we all kind of get along. I started the practice in 2020. Of course, everything was virtual, so many of them I hired virtually. Many of them I didn't. Some of them I still haven't met in person, but we all meet. We have a good time, and we're here to kind of just help people work through whatever they need. And it's just so important now that we focus on mental health and being available for people who need or want to talk to someone.
That is great. So I didn't know that you just started in 2020.
Yeah, the practice just
The
opened in
practice.
2020. It
Wow.
did.
And it is really booming. But this was a pivotal time for mental health too. Like they say that this was like a mental health pandemic because people were dealing with so many challenges with all the changes that were happening in the world, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
a lot.
so I can see why, and counselors everywhere are like literally booked.
Yes.
And you are here in Raleigh, and like you
Mhm.
said, you have a location in Asheville,
That's
right?
right. Yes.
And so you still have a team of women and men, I'm guessing,
Yes, women and men.
um, that are pretty much on your team and pretty much can handle all sorts of issues,
All sorts.
especially dealing with trauma.
Yes.
And this is one of the things I was going to say something, but I don't want to get into the spill because I want you all to come to the event so that you can hear this. But I was going to say that you mentioned about evolving is not allowing things to interfere with your process
Mhm.
to an extent. So um, that what have you seen happen? I'm just gonna throw this out there. What have you seen happen when people experience trauma and how it interferes with their process?
Um, I'll say, like, when the pandemic started, if you think about what happened to people, that idea of you can't really come and go as you please. So you kind of had to sit at home for a while. And what we noticed is many people were starting to come that were dealing with things that they have kind of pushed down or kind of pushed it aside because they were living their lives. And so now they had opportunity to kind of sit with some things that were coming up for them, and they really wanted to address it. So with trauma is can be a long process for some to work through, because you sometimes you just want to be done with it. Like, okay, I'm tired of dealing with it. I just want to be done with it. Help me. I have some clients that come like, okay, Renee, 6 weeks, I need to be fixed. Fix me. And I'm like, you're not broken. I can't fix you. But it's that whole idea of avoiding. You've been avoiding this because you've been going to work, you've been traveling, you've been doing all these things, and now it's like you can't do that right now. So now you have to sit in what's going on right now. And that's why I got certified in EMDR, and I've been trained in brain spotting. It's just a different approach to therapy. It's not like talk therapy. It's more like a somatic approach with some tapping, with some eye gazing, and it just allows clients to get more connected to their feelings and tap into really what's going on inside. Because many of us don't realize that our thoughts and our feelings and our behaviors, how we act and what we feel in our bodies, they're all connected. Sometimes we pay it no mind, sometimes we do. Like when I'm stressed out, like I get it all in my neck. So, sometimes it just gets blocked. So just being able to kind of allowing yourself, I always tell my clients to give themselves some grace, right? You don't have to rush the process. You don't have to feel like you need to be fixed. It can be done in a slow process if need be. And that goes back to what I was saying, that evolving, like allow yourself to change. Like, well, why am I still thinking this way? And it's been like 3 months. And I'm like, it could take you a year. And that's okay if it takes you that long, because at least you're coming, you're doing the work, you're figuring some things out. So let the process happen the way it needs to happen. It can be frustrating, it can be a pain, but I always go back to just give yourself some grace and allow the process to happen the way it needs to happen. I always tell them, in God's timing, it's going to happen. And usually it's just like, it just clicks for them. It's like, I feel better. Like they actually took the time to work through their things.
So the funny thing is that when we first before we even got on live camera, I got this idea for a video. And when you first came up, I was recording it. So it's actually right in the line kind of what you were saying, is that, we want things to happen in this perfect way. And it's okay if it doesn't.
Right.
And if it takes a while for us to get where we need to be, so
Right.
be it. Like
Mhm.
over time, we will continue to evolve
Yeah.
and perfect whatever it is. Like if we have a vision for something that we want to do in our
Mhm.
life, or if we have a vision for how we want to feel or be, like
Right.
it's okay if it takes time. We want to rush everything.
Mhm.
They say that the millennials, so to speak, or whatever generation you want to refer to, we are more of a microwave society because we
Mhm.
want things done in an instant.
Right.
And, it takes time. Like I can remember back, sometimes I have to take myself back sometimes, like to when I was a kid, like when we had the rotary phones, where we had to spin our
Mhm.
finger around on the phone
Right.
and be patient for someone to pick up the phone. Like, and if we messed up on the
Mhm.
phone number, we had to start all over
All
again.
over. Right.
And so, like, I think that for people who didn't grow up in that generation, that might be a little more challenging. And even those who have, like,
Yeah.
there's some things that are a little challenging with working through, like, even
Mhm.
with the changes, like, everything is changing.
Right.
And um, as long as we're okay with the changes, and like the more we allow things to flow the way they are flowing, we just move along with it. I think that's where evolving occurs, is that we
Yes.
keep going allow it to flow where in the way it's going.
Yeah.
And don't force anything or be upset with ourselves, and not give
Exactly.
ourselves grace, as you mentioned,
Yes.
for how we think it's supposed to be. Like
Mhm.
it could be the way we think, but it might just take some time.
It does sometimes, and that's okay too.
Yes,
That's okay.
absolutely. So anything else you want to say about evolving?
No, I think that's it. I think we kind of hit on what that means, at least for me, and what I've seen over these last 2 years. Is just the changing that's happening for many people, and it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing for some of my clients that I've discharged, and I see them just, doing new things, trying new things, stepping out and getting uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Because, some people say, like, you stay in a job for so long because you're comfortable. You're
Yes.
really not comfortable. It's just easier for you to stay there because you ain't got to worry about interviewing. You don't got to worry about if they're going to like me. You don't got to worry about, am I going to make mistakes again because I know this job. And it's
Yes.
like, allow yourself to be uncomfortable sometimes. Leaving
Yes.
corporate America to do therapy, that was such a huge dip. I mean, it was like a shock to my system. And I remember people saying, well, what are you gonna do? Who are you? I'm like, I have no idea, y'all. Like, I just know I got this job. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going into people's homes. I'm going to court with clients. I'm going to school with, like, I'm doing all this stuff I have never done before. And I'm just learning. I'm learning, and I'm giving myself a little grace in the process, because I'm like, I can't rush this. Like, I have people's lives. I have people, you know, looking to me for understanding on why things are happening the way they're happening with them. So that's been the hardest for me in this evolving process, because I have no patience. I'm just going to be honest. Like, patience for me, it's tough. So I have to have conversations with myself on a regular basis about having a little patience. Like, Renee, slow down, calm down. It's okay. Keep going. And so, because we want things to be good, we want things to fall in line, and just being okay with making mistakes sometimes or not getting it right. and just learning from them.
Absolutely. Something that came to mind where you were talking is that you said it's a beautiful thing to see. Um, it made me think about literally if we were to sit still and actually look at how the world is changing, it is kind of beautiful though that we are able to hear to able to witness the transitions that are happening in the world and be okay. Because even though there's so much, the world shows us there's so many bad things going
Mhm.
on that we feel sometimes we cannot see the good that's going on.
Yeah.
I myself, I can see that coming from a generation, I was born in the 80s, and I've seen so many changes happen. Like
Mhm.
literally, like I was just talking about the rotary phone.
Right.
I went from that to like the flip phone to like now we have these advanced computers that we have on our phones,
Right.
literally.
Right.
We've gone from like literally seeing the dial-up internet. Now we have like 5G
Right.
internet, and like there's so many good things that are happening. But if we sometimes we don't slow down. This, I'm using this as a parallel to our life, is that if we don't slow down and
Mhm.
reflect on what good is happening, we won't see how the world has evolved and how we've evolved.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and I think when we reflect, even though our lives, I'm going to say use my life as an example. I'm not totally where I desire to be, but I'm so
Mhm.
thankful for like where I am, how I allowed
Right.
myself to evolve over time and didn't get stuck. And I've taken those steps, like going to therapy.
Yeah.
And I just went to therapy. Just I felt led to go. Like the
Mhm.
Lord told me exactly who I need to go see for therapy. Like He put somebody on my mind
Oh,
and
that's
was
good.
like, contact her. And I've been going to her since because I knew that where I was going and with the vision that I had, I was going to need to process things with
Mhm.
people so I can do better and move through what it is that I needed. And um, it's probably one of the best things that I've done in the past. Well, I've been there for over a year now, back at it over a year now. And I was able to, release my book. That was challenging. And I
Mhm.
really had to work through that. But
Right.
because I would allow myself to be vulnerable to someone, um, and that's key. Like vulnerability is a hard thing to do,
Ooh. Yes, it is.
but it's
I think
possible.
that's a requirement in my office. Like when you see me, you gotta be vulnerable. Like I
Yes,
want the full transparent you. Um,
absolutely.
and
And that's
that can be
important.
hard. That can be hard sometimes. And it's hard sometimes for me because that idea we have to be strong, especially women. We have to be strong. We got to be strong. And sometimes being strong kind of equates to like you don't have any feelings. And I'm like, no, you don't always have to be strong. You can, strong is not, synonymous with no feelings or the opposite is weak. So I think it's just important to allow yourself to just be vulnerable um, with no apologies. Like, this is just who I am. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing. All of that. So, did I see someone say a message about accountability?
Yes. So I was
I
gonna
love that. I love that word too.
yes. So is accountability to yourself, of
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah.
And you know what? But people are not, they don't, some people don't know what that is.
Mhm.
Some people don't know what that looks like. And it can be intimidating to some people because of their trauma. Um,
Yeah.
Accountability can be pretty tough to
Mhm.
acknowledge or to accept,
Yeah.
um, because of trauma. Trauma, a lot of times people are not accountable,
Yep.
or because of safety or
Mhm.
feeling secure in a sense or not feeling threatened.
Yeah. Safety
Um,
is a huge component of trauma. That's one of the areas of your life that's affected. Trust is another area. It's another area. That idea of power and control, self-esteem, how you feel about yourself. That's another area that's affected by trauma. So it is very important that we do hold ourselves accountable. And I always tell people like you have to understand what has happened to you, what makes you think the way you think, understanding what's behind all the events, because sometimes people think of trauma as these big, big events. It could be stuff at work. You could have a boss that just tormented you. You could have something from your childhood that you just held on to. You could have, thinking that your parents had these high expectations from you. Me being a teenage mother was traumatic for me. For a long time, I beat myself up about getting pregnant as a teenager. And I carried that, not realizing I was carrying it, but I was carrying it with me for many, many years. So there's a lot of things that's happened in our lives that we just live with or we just kind of push through that really has caused us to hold on to negative thoughts about ourselves, negative thoughts about, people thinking judgment of us, when in reality it's just working through what those thoughts are and really challenging them, saying, this is not true because look at this X, Y, and Z that has happened to negate all of that. But sometimes when you're going through, right, you think of one negative thing, and next thing you know, the next five negative things are piled on top of that, and you stuck in a bad place. So it's really working hard to when those negative thoughts coming through, challenge it with some too positive, like, no, because I got this going on. I got a good job. I got good friends. Because in reality, yeah, I may have started off as a teenage mother. I had a great support system from my parents and my sister. And now that I'm older and grown and have 5 kids and 4 grandkids, I have great children, great grandkids. And I have a group of women that I love dearly that support me every step of the way. So I'm blessed. It doesn't matter how I started. It just doesn't. So I just thank God every day that I'm here. I made it. And He chose this career for me. And that I'm living this and having the opportunity to connect with people like you. I just met you in what, April.
Yes, we just
So
met.
yeah, like having these opportunities that He places in front of us and connecting with people. So
Absolutely. And first of all, I'm gonna say I can't believe you're a grandmother.
I am a four.
I can't believe that, but God is good.
Amazing man.
He is good. Because I cannot believe you wouldn't have told me that I wouldn't have known.
Mhm. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
But there is power in connection. I'm glad you said that. Like you said, we just met in April.
Mhm,
Like I've seen you before, but I didn't get
mhm.
to meet you last year.
Right.
But this year I met you, and I was just like, you came to mind. I was like, yeah, I need her. He was like, I need to bring her on. And that's what this event is about. It's not just about being free to evolve, but making connections, the right
Mhm,
connections too, because you just never know who you will meet
mhm.
in certain settings. You might meet your person, like the person you need to connect with in
Exactly.
settings that you're unfamiliar with.
Mhm,
And that's all about being vulnerable to going to something that may empower you to be exactly where you need to be. Like
mhm,
that person that you may have an encounter with at this event may plant a seed that ignites wherever the direction you need to go. And
mhm.
so you just never know who you meet when you go places. You really don't.
Very
And
true.
so one thing that I learned is to be open. I wasn't always open. Like I had my guard up too because a lot of
Mhm.
trauma,
Yep.
but a complex trauma at that. And
Mhm,
so I wasn't always receptive, but I've learned over time to be free and be open
mhm.
to the opportunity, to the people that I'm meeting, and not to retract and or should I say uh I can't say the word right now, but to become like more introverted in a
Right.
sense because some people are introverted,
Mhm.
but to even introverts have the ability to connect. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes people use it as a crutch, but it don't have to be a crutch. But I had the choice of whether or not I would come speak to you. And I was intentional in coming to speak to you at
Mhm.
the
You
event
are.
because first of all, I loved your personality. I love how you related to the crowd. I love how you just, were just yourself.
Mhm.
And
With
people
my sneakers on, right? I have
yeah,
my
with your sneakers. That's what I remember. With your sneakers on. Like I remember that. And I always remember that you said you work out only just so you can eat cookies, like and
Mhm.
candy.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I
That's
remember that. And that's true and being true and authentically you. And I
mhm.
love that. I want to connect to more people who are like that.
Right.
And this is the perfect opportunity for you to do that. So I want to say we're going to end it, but I want to say thank you so much, Renee, for your just being you. I'm just going to
Thank
say that because I just love you. Like you're a great woman, and I appreciate you sharing even your journey and evolving and not knowing where your life is going to
Mhm.
be, and giving some tidbits of like what people can do and what they can expect from you from the event. Y'all don't want to miss her. She's a great speaker. I love how she relates to the crowd. You would definitely smile and laugh while you're with her. Um, but if you have not already, please go ahead and get your tickets. Ticket sales end on Monday night. So don't wait too late. Go ahead and get your tickets. And Renee, um, I'm going to go ahead and pull you down.
Okay.
And thank you again. All right, y'all. If you have not gotten your tickets, if you've been watching this live stream, share it, please, y'all. Share it with somebody who might need to hear this. Share it on your timeline. Also, I want to announce too that there was a winner of the free ticket, and that was Lanisa Huff. Lanisa, you get to bring somebody with you because you already got your ticket, baby. So you're gonna get another free ticket to bring somebody along with you to the event. If you have not gotten your ticket yet, please go ahead and get it. Um, uh, and I want to say too, just be on the lookout for some more announcements, y'all. Be on the lookout. I'll talk to you all soon. Remember, don't allow anything or anyone keep you from living the life that you desire and that God purposed you to live. I love y'all. Be free and have a wonderful night.